So ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 2020 Ford Mustang, not sponsored by Bang, but this is the EcoBoost Mustang, not the GT. I'll go more about the performance, all that stuff in a little bit, but this is actually equipped with the high performance package, which means we have massive front brakes with Pirelli's P0 tires for the best traction for day-to-day driving, and you got regular calipers in the rear. That's common with the GTs. But in today's video, we're gonna go ahead and go over all the awesome tips and tricks, some hidden features that this vehicle can offer, because these latest vehicles, they have a bunch of like tricks up their sleeves that not a lot of people cover. So if you have a 6th generation Mustang, or maybe you're in a market, here's everything there is to know about these latest generation Mustangs. So starting off, I want to quickly go over the smart key. Now these newer generation 6th gen models will come included with this key style. If you picked up the early generation 6th generation Mustang, your key might look like this one. A little bit bulkier, but functionality wise, all these buttons will do the exact same thing. But a hidden trick that these keys have to offer, let's quickly lock our vehicle. And then if you tap unlock, tap it once again, but this time hold it for a couple of seconds, your windows are all gonna roll down. This is perfect for those hot sunny days. Now in the back here, you have access to the trunk by either using your remote. You could simply tap the trunk release button twice and it'll pop open. But not a lot of folks know about this. There's actually a second way to get access to the trunk. Right in the center, underneath the license plate, there's a little button here you can press and it'll actually release the trunk. So you can get access without having to take out your key. You'll be surprised how many Mustang owners didn't know about this. Now, since we're back here, if you're left wondering if we have a full spare, a donut, unfortunately we do not. We have an inflation kit. This is something that most modern auto manufacturers are now doing, just giving us inflation kits. So yeah, with the 6th gen Mustang, there's no spare. Now these tail lights back here do look amazing when illuminated. And they are sequential, but only with the turn signals. When you toggle the hazard lights, they just all go on at once. No biggie, but I just thought this was really interesting to talk about. Now the reverse lights are located in a very interesting spot, right here in the center, down below, right next to the diffuser. So since this Mustang is equipped with the high performance package, in the back we actually have a quad exhaust tip setup. And not only that, they actually have valve opening too. So they have different exhaust modes, which I'll talk more about in a little bit. Now, as I mentioned, this is the EcoBoost Mustang, so back here we do get a pony, but if this was a GT, we would have been given a GT badge instead. That's how you could tell a GT from a non-GT. Then the gas cap, it is using a fillerless cap, saving you time or the hassle of accidentally forgetting and driving away from the gas station with your gas cap open. So the hood vents you see here are actually fully functional and are standard on all 6th gen models. They actually do allow air to get out. Another standard feature is the headlights. These DRLs, these illuminating lights, are also standard on all 6th gen. And then these fog lamps right here you see here, they're not there just for looks. They actually do project a beam on the highway. So yeah, they're fully functional fog lamps. So pretty much every modern car nowadays have these smart door handles, and the Ford Mustang also has this. When you pull the door handle, as long as you have your key on you or close by, it will automatically unlock all the doors. And these little lines you see here, if you tap this, it will lock all your doors. So the vehicle is now locked. Now let's go ahead and step inside. Now inside there's a couple of new quirky little features here and there. One of which I want to cover is the door lock. Now previously, regular doors, they usually have like a mechanical stick that goes up and down to indicate if the door is locked. With the Mustang, it's just an LED. Red is locked, and when the red is turned off, that means the door is unlocked. I thought this was really interesting. I think this is the first time I've seen this. Now there is a digital dash display option you could buy where the entire screen is a digital display. That's optional. This one isn't equipped with that, but even this one, the standard one, has a lot of cool customizable features. You can only do this at night, but if you go into the settings, you can actually change the colors of the gauges, including the center gauge that you see right here with the PSI and all that stuff, as all these gauges are RGB. The halos can also be changed. This also is including the ambient lights inside the interior, and if you want to, you can look up RGB codes if you Google them to lock down a specific color that you are looking for. Other customizable settings is the exhaust mode. Now remember, as I mentioned, this Mustang is equipped with exhaust valves, which you could switch to these following modes. So this is the audio clip of the quiet exhaust. Then here's normal. Sport. And here's track. Very graspy, I gotta admit, for a 4-cylinder. And you could really hear this turbo spool up as well. Also, down here you can actually make custom schedules. So if you want the valves to quiet down during the time of day, you can do so by scheduling it right here. And then down here in the center, we have fighter jet-like switches, which do multiple things. There's one right here for the vehicle modes. You can choose between normal, sport, track, even drag, surprisingly. And then weather. Then the next one allows you to switch between the steering modes. You have the choice between normal, which is just standard, sport, which the steering wheel really does tighten up, gives you more road feedback. I really do like it. And then comfort, which just makes everything loosey-goosey. Traction control is right next to it. You can just turn it on and off by push of a switch. And then lastly, here's our hazards, which stays in place, of course. Paddle shifters is, of course, standard on the automatic transmission. And the gear selector has a sport mode. And when you have it in sport mode, just tap the paddles and that will engage manual mode. Now, if you do hit red line, from what I've been hearing, the RPM gauge will actually flash red. And then when you go into reverse, not only will the reverse camera pop up, but you can actually tap to zoom in to squeeze in that extra inch when parking. In the center console, here is where you'll find the USB port that connects to the infotainment system. And then not only that, you can actually run the cable right here to connect it to your smartphone for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. And in here, there's actually is a pen holder right on the cover as well. I thought this was really interesting. And in case you're wondering, since we don't have a real traditional ignition switch to turn the gauge to ignite the engine, in case your key fob battery is dead, there's actually is a little compartment here inside the center cup holder console where you actually remove this cover and you can place the key right there. So if your remote key fob is dead, this is where you place it and the vehicle will still be able to detect it to start the engine. Now to access the glove box, you simply just press this little button and that's how you get into it. But besides the glove box, there's actually is a second glove box for the manual or other important information you can store in here. And then sunglasses holder, unfortunately it's not on the roof of the car like a normal vehicle. It's actually right next to the steering wheel. You just push in and then there's a little container. Now, interesting fact about the Mustang, if you actually go on the owner's manual and turn to page 199, there is actually a guide on how to tow with your Mustang. Yes, you heard me. Not towing a Mustang, but towing with your Mustang. Yeah, I couldn't believe it myself, but there's instruction guides right here. But all in all, that is all the interesting hidden features about the 6th generation 2020 Mustang. And now let's go ahead and take it out for a drive and discuss how it's like daily driving this thing. Okay, so after running errands around town, going to different cities now with this car, I gotta say, this EcoBoost Mustang, it's really easy to drive. Seats are also really comfortable as they have heated seats, they're ventilated. In other words, this thing comes with all the modern creature comforts that you expect to find in a modern vehicle. But remember, since this is equipped with the high performance package, we do have the exhaust modes, and for me personally, I'm not a huge fan of them. Whenever I enable them, like whenever I switch to sport mode, which I'm going to demonstrate right now I have it set to quiet, but let me go ahead and change that. Okay, it's not that drony, I just don't like the sound. I know to a youngster, they will really appreciate the valve openings, I guess, to give it a more aggressive sound. But I've driven V8s, even some 6-cylinders, they sound a lot better than this 4-cylinder EcoBoost. But an important thing to also note, there's no drone, which is pretty good. But yeah, handling wise, this thing handles like a champ. Those Brembo brakes, it really does allow you to make confident fast turns. Now, although this is a 2-door coupe, there is 2 more additional seats in the back, but honestly, they're not really usable. You have to have really small friends to sit comfortably back there. So all in all, would I personally recommend this car to anyone? Okay, let's be real. If you're buying a Mustang, you're buying a Mustang. You either fell in love with the design, the performance aspect of things, or the heritage that the Mustang name has to offer. Usually those are the reasons why somebody may consider buying a Mustang. I do agree, this vehicle does drive really good, but there's other vehicles in the same price tag that drive even better. But to each their own. If you find a killer deal on a Mustang, it's good to know that you are surrounded with all the creature comforts that you expect to find on a modern vehicle. Ford didn't hold back on that, as you have everything from functional fog lamps, unique looking instrument cluster gauges right here on the dash, and that exhaust mode, which I wasn't expecting to find, again, on a 4-cylinder. But that's my 2 cents of the 2020 Ford Mustang EcoBoost with the high performance package. If you want to see more automotive videos I've done in the past, you can go ahead and watch this playlist right here. So that's pretty much the complete playlist of all the previous videos I review. And then that video over here, that is just a video that YouTube thinks you will like. So if you want to go ahead and watch that instead, feel free to do so. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care, and I will catch you all in the next one. See ya.